Merry meet everybody, it's Poe, and I'm your Friday hostess here on Witches of the Moon. This week on the channel we are discussing sacred places or spaces. By definition, something that's sacred is something that's connected to God or the gods, or dedicated to a religious purpose and is deserving of veneration or blessing or consecration. So a sacred place or space is a area that is kind of dedicated to your religious views and beliefs. It's a place where usually for people on our path, it is somewhere to connect to deity, universal energy, higher beings, higher spirit, higher purpose, a place to connect to personal spirit and energy. Basically, a sacred space is somewhere that is typically very personal, and somewhere that it's a comfortable place. It's somewhere that you feel comfortable, where you can do your thing, and usually not get interrupted, but sometimes that does happen. A sacred space is usually an altar for us in the pagan Wiccan path. It's a place where we can craft, do our magic, connect with deity, speak with our totem animals, connect to spirit guides, do divination, cast spells, cast circles. It's a place where you feel comfortable enough to be in your most spiritual place. That's what a sacred space is to me. My altar, my main altar, which is the one you see now, is a sacred space to me. This is somewhere where I can come and meditate, somewhere where I pray, where I manifest, where I just kind of do my magical witchy things. That's what my sacred space, my altar is, and it's dedicated to my religious purpose. But really, it doesn't have to be an altar. You don't have to have an altar to have a sacred space. A sacred space could be as simple as your bed, or, a place where you can just be alone and be with yourself, under a tree, in a forest, or on a rock next to a river. Wherever it is that you are able to kind of quiet the mind and do what you need to do on a spiritual level, that is what a sacred space is. I don't have very many. My entire room, the room that this altar is in, is a sacred space, this entire room. But I think other than this room, probably the next sacred space that I have is in my kitchen, and it's a altar that's dedicated to the hearth and home energies, but really that's it. And honestly, I can really truly say that up until I owned my own home, I didn't have a sacred space, and it wasn't something that was necessary for me before I had this house. But I made do. I would go for walks in nature, and that was a sacred place to me. I would go and just sit outside, and that was a sacred space to me. It's somewhere where you are safe, where you are comfortable, and you are free to just kind of do whatever you need to do. So, yeah, that's really kind of it. That's all I can really contribute to this topic. It's pretty short and simple, but that's what it is to me. So it's one of those things where it doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't. The way you set up your altar, if you have one, it doesn't have to be complicated. Go on intuition, you know? That's what I do. A lot of times I will set things up that in a way that is aesthetically and intuitively pleasing to me. There's guidelines that people put out as far as what your altar setup should be or what your sacred space should look like, but really at the end of the day, it's yours, and you've got to kind of put your own twist on it. Incorporate the basics if you want, but really it does honestly come down to whatever it is you feel comfortable in working with, because you are going to be the one that is doing your thing at that place. So make it your own. Like I said, I go off aesthetics and my intuition as far as setup. So, you know, it's really, you can kind of go wild with it if you want, or you can make it as simple as just having like a little, like the table next to your bed. If you have a little bedside table, having a little candle right next to the bed and maybe a crystal. It's as simple as that. It can be as complicated or as simple as you'd like for it to be. It really, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just however you want it to be in order to make you feel comfortable in that space. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and many blessings.